and don't want to stay, you're more than welcome. But just in a nutshell, but there's every time you do a transaction, somebody is selling and somebody's buying. One person is buying let's say a commodity, and one person is selling the money. And this is important to know because money cannot be a form of acquisition. Money is not kaina. And mois could be a commodity, but mois cannot be kaina. So we look at every transaction, we say, so which is the commodity and which is the money? Because if you how you acquire a commodity is by mashicha, by drawing it to yourself. The moment I drew it to myself, I was kaina, and that moment I now have an obligation to pay you money. But the person, let's say, who takes the money was not if a person just takes the money and the buyer did not make a mashicha, the buyer is not kaina, there's no obligation. They both can change their mind, or according to Rav Shimon, only the seller one that has the money. Because mois is not kaina. So the entire Gemara revolves around what's the money when you want to, let's say, buy coins. So you're selling coins, you're buying coins, you're swapping silver coins for gold coins. 25 silver dinarim make up one golden coin. Which is the money, and which is the commodity, which is the merchandise, which is the schayra. Because whichever is the schayra, if I draw it to myself, the kinyan is absolute. If I draw the money, if I pay the money, nothing really happened yet at all. There's a mishapara, but nothing really happened. So that is the question we've had, and we had Rebbe, what he taught when he was younger, and Rebbe, what he taught was older. We have our Mishnah, we have an argument by Hil Basham, but basically, one opinion says that gold is considered money because that's the most chashuv thing. So therefore, if you're swapping silver for gold, gold is the money, and silver is the schayr, the merchandise. But then we say that no, that actually silver is the merchandise and gold is the money. Silver is the money and gold is the merchandise. Why? Even though gold is more chashuv, but because silver is much easier to spend, it's more or less accepted everywhere, but gold is not accepted everywhere, and therefore it's more difficult to spend. The definition of money is that you can use it wherever you want, buy whatever you want with it. So we are up to here. You're up to that memdal on base, so let's go quickly because we're really behind, and this is a difficult Gemara. But once you have these rules in place, it's pretty straightforward. So the Gemara is 44b Tanan Hassam.
44b, right.
I don't know what that is. Somebody please say what that is.
B4 or 5?
Can somebody tell them, whoever has an article Gemara?
First line on the
44b3 Tanan Hassam, first column.
Yeah, the first word on the page is Tivo.
Right.
Okay. Tanan Hassam, we learned. Beis Shammai says that, Beis Shammai says, Loy Yasa Adam, a person should not make sloyin into din rizov. In other words, you have sloyim, you have silver coins that you had Maisa Sheni. That's the 10% that you have to bring first, second, fourth, fifth year, and you have to bring it by a certain time. And you got to bring to the Shalim. But it's too difficult, it's too good, too difficult to transport all that to the Shalim, so you exchange it for money. You change it for silver coins. And now you want to change that into golden coins because 25 silver make up one gold. It's even easier to carry. Says Beis Shammai, you cannot swap silver coins into golden coins. We'll see in a minute why not. And the reason is going to be because you can only buy money, you can only swap it for money, not for other payers. And since gold, according to Beis Shammai, is the silver is money and golden coins is merchandise, you cannot swap the money of Ma'aser Sheni for merchandise. You can only swap it in Shalim and only for food that you can eat. And Beis Hillel is matir. Beis Hillel is matir. So obviously Beis Hillel holds that gold is money, and therefore you can swap the fruits to silver because silver compared to fruits is money, and you can swap the silver coins to gold because gold compared to silver is money because gold is more chashuv. Now we have an argument of Yechon Lakish between how far we take Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel's argument. The only argument is if you want to swap silver to gold, Beis Shammai holds kaspa tiva, silver is money, dahava paid, and gold is merchandise. The tiva paid on. You cannot take money that you already exchange from fruits to money, and now you want to take that money and buy gold, which is not money, which is merchandise. You cannot do that. And it says, you got to take the money with you. You cannot swap it back to Paris. So and Beis Hillel says, Kaspa Peda, compared to gold, silver is considered Paris. Gold is money, and therefore paid no problem. However, what happens according to Shammai? No problem. According to Shammai, originally you want to take the fruits and you want to swap it over for gold. Beis Hillel says, of course, no problem. Gold is money. But Beis Shammai says that gold is considered fruits compared to silver. What would Beis Shammai hold that golden coins are considered compared to the original Ma'aser Sheni fruits? You want to take the Ma'aser Sheni fruit and swap it over to gold, so you don't have to transport that much. I will pay this aldina. So this opinion says fruits aldina, everyone knows mechalin, you can. Because my time, midi that why? Midi the havia ketzev. Look at Beis Hillel, what he holds regarding silver coins. Beis Hillel says silver coins compared to gold is considered a commodity, but silver coins compared to Ma'aser Sheni is considered money, and therefore you can swap the Ma'aser Sheni fruits to gold to silver coins. So the same with Shammai, even though gold according to Beis Shammai is considered a commodity, but that's compared to silver, but compared to fruits, it's considered money. Look at silver coins. Even though silver compared to gold is considered merchandise. Yet, but compared to fruits, it's considered money, right? Which we said already, you had Saloim. You already transferred the Kedusha from your Ma'aser Sheni to silver. Is Zov Nam Lebeshama? It's the same thing that applies to Beshama, the same logic. Gold compared to silver is paid. But you want to compare it to the original fruits, Tiva is considered money, and therefore it's a good swap. That's one view. The other one says, no, they're still maintaining their age. After Peders al Dina Machlekes. The argument, even Beis Shammai holds that gold is never considered money, and therefore you couldn't have swapped the original Ma'aser Sheni to gold. So the Gemara says, I don't understand. If Beis Shammai makes such a big chiddush, you cannot even swap from fruits to gold. So why do they argue about swapping silver coins to gold coins? I have a greater argument: fruits to gold coins. And Beis Shammai holds you can't because gold is not considered money; it's not a currency; it's more a commodity. They argue that Beis Shammai holds that even fruits you cannot swap over to golden coins. Is at the miflagi besloyin al divin. Why do you argue about silver coins to gold? Liflag a big chiddush, but payers are divin. Now Beis Shammai holds you cannot even swap fruits to golden coins because it's not money. Gold is a commodity. So I'll tell you, you're right. According to Beis Shammai, would have been a bigger chiddush to talk about fruits swapping to gold. But then we would have mistakenly thought that Beis Hillel is only arguing because he said, compared to payers, gold is money. But if you would have had silver coins, which I think is money, the silver coins, and you want to then move it to gold, what would Beis Hillel say then? Beis Hillel might agree with Beis Shammai that you cannot swap it to gold. The Gemara says, if they only would argue about fruits and moving it to gold, how they thought, how did be lit payers? I didn't. I would have thought, when did they argue regarding fruits going to gold, whether you can, you can't? Because gold, Beis Hillel says gold compared to fruits is considered money. But if you want to swap silver coins to gold coins, maybe perhaps Beis Hillel agrees to Beis Shammai, the dava legabe kaspa, that gold compared to silver paid is merely a fruit, a commodity. And Beis Hillel would agree that you cannot swap from silver to gold. Maybe compared to silver, Beis Hillel agrees that gold is merely a commodity. Silver is money. Kamashlan that no. Beis Hillel holds that gold is always considered money. It's more chashuv. This time, so who says what? We don't know. We just said 1-1. This time I'll conclude. Perhaps the Gemara thinks that Rabbi Yechanan who Rabbi Yechanan says you cannot swap. You cannot swap fruits. Beis Shammai holds you cannot swap fruits to gold. It means even compared to fruits, gold, according to Beis Shammai, is a commodity. How do we know Rabbi Yechanan said that? Rabbi Yechanan said, it. Also, according to one opinion, Asr Lilvois dinner bedinner. You're not allowed to borrow a dinner, a golden dinner. We'll see in a minute. See, the problem is a lot of times the Gemara uses the word dinner, and we don't know if they're referring to a silver dinner or they're referring to a golden dinner, which is made up of 25 silver ones. So it says, we heard before, you're not allowed to borrow a measure of wheat and pay back with a measure of wheat because the price is volatile, and if it goes up, you're paying ribis midrabanan. You didn't fix the price, that's ribis midrabanan. When it comes to money, the Gemara's attitude is that money is always static. We see that currency fluctuates. It's not the currency fluctuating, it's the buying power of the currency that fluctuates. It's the merchandise all around that goes up and down in price. Currency always stays the same. So, but here he says you're not allowed to borrow a dinner and pay back with a dinner. Now, why not? It's money. Why can't you borrow money and pay back money? You always can. So, what are you talking about? Anybody hold a silver is not money? If I borrow 100 silver coins, I shouldn't be able to pay back 100 silver coins. Of course you can. Either they went up in price. No, the silver is remained static. It's the buying power. And Lepshita, definitely, what we're talking about here is dinner shazov, the dinner shazov. We're talking about a dinner of zav. We're talking about gold. Now, the amount, of course, who are we talking about? Remember, Basil says dinner gold is also money. So what's the problem? He says it's money. So why can't you borrow and pay back with golden coins? Allah Beshame holds that gold is not considered money. That gold is a commodity. And therefore, he said that even gold, legabe gold, even if we're not comparing it to silver, gold. I'm borrowing gold, 10 golden coins, I'm going to pay back. It's considered a commodity, and you can't do that because you have to fix a dollar price. Because if you do that, what happens? The gold goes up in value, you're paying ribis. Rabbi Yechon holds that even if he holds that gold regarding itself is not considered money, surely he holds that gold compared to fruits is not considered money. No proof. I can tell you Rabbi Yechon says that yes, that you can take fruits and swap it over for gold. I say, how come you can't borrow golden coins and return it? B'shayni hava, a loan is different. Why is a loan different? Since when it comes to buying and selling, we said that gold. When it comes to buying and selling, we said that hazov koine is. We said that zov koine is akesef. That the moment you pull the zov, it's a commodity. You were kind of different. Now you owe the money. So we see when it comes to buying and selling, we treat gold. We treat gold like a commodity. What do you mean commodity? That when it goes up and down value, it's not the purchasing power, but the actual unit itself goes up and down value, at least when it comes to buying and selling. So the gabe halvanami, when it comes to borrowing, maybe when it comes to swapping for Maisa Sheni, it's considered money. But when it comes to borrowing, which is almost like buying and selling, is paid a hava. We treat it like paid. In fact, how can I start? I'll prove it to you. He says clearly, in the name of Yechim, even though we say dinner, you cannot borrow one dinner and pay back with a dinner, gold. But you can't swap Maisa Sheni onto the gold, which means compared to fruits, it's considered perhaps money. But the reason why compared to itself is not considered money is because it looks like a transaction, like buying and selling. That's a bit shmamina. And therefore, we say that it looks like buying and selling, and we'll treat it like a commodity. Tashma, this is today's one. Tashma, we learn. So you have money, let's say you have copper coins of Maisa Sheni, and now you want to transfer them because it's too hard to lug around all these copper coins. You want to transfer them to silver to bring them up with you to the Shalayim, right? Because of the weight. Is hapoidet sela memoy. So you already transferred the Maisa Sheni fruit to the copper coins, and now you want to transfer the copper coins to the silver coins. Is Beishamay says bechol haselamas. You can transfer the copper coins into the silver, but you have to do all of it. You don't retain any of the copper coins. All of it should be transferred to the silver coins. Well, Basil says b'shekel kesef b'shekel mois. Do it shekel is a half a seller. Do half change to silver and half leave it as copper. And the reason that is when it comes to Shalayim, you need small money to be able to buy some of the things that you need and the provisions. If everybody's going to change to silver, you come to Shalayim, you're all going to line up, and you're going to try to change it back to copper. It's going to cause a great demand, and it'll increase the price, and you'll be able to buy less with your Maisa Sheni money, and therefore your Maisa Sheni loses out. And why should Maisa Sheni, which is a mitzvah to be eaten, lose out on how much you're going to eat? So therefore, leave half the money in loose change that you can readily buy things. Now, let's understand. What happened over here? You took, so it's clear here, the copper coins, you transferred the kedusha of your fruits, of your grains, whatever it is, to these copper coins. Now, according to Beshame, how did you do that? Copper coins are less. If gold is not money, then copper surely is not money. Gold at least is chashuv. Copper is not that prevalent. Plus, it's not even chashuv. So if Shammai holds that gold is not money, surely copper is not money. And you said before, according to one opinion, Shammai says you cannot transfer the kedusha from the fruits to gold. Surely you cannot transfer it to copper. So how did he transfer it here? And since he holds it clearly that copper coins you can transfer kedusha, the gabi dava. Boy, how can anybody say that Bishame holds you cannot transfer the kedusha of your Maisa Sheni to gold? The Gemara no. Pruta sometimes is more reason to classify it as money than gold. And why is that? If it's a place that everybody uses to spend, everybody is spending money. It's a poor place. They all use copper coins. It's very prevalent. So therefore, it's currency far more than gold, which is not really a currency. It's a commodity. Shiny prite, we're talking about a case where it's readily available and everybody uses it to spend. And that's why Shammai said you could use that as money and transfer the kedusha to that. That's one version. Lishna, another version, how Rabbi Yechon and Rish Lakish argue in the argument of Shammai Basil. You know that a whole different shot. That the argument of Shammai Basil is not whether gold is money or not money. You know they're arguing in whether you can transfer twice. Because remember, you already transferred the kedusha of Ma'aser Sheni to the copper coins. Can you now take the kedusha of the copper coins and transfer it to the silver? That's a second transfer. Can you transfer it? Can you transfer it twice or not? So they said like this. One of them says, like is the whole argument is the argument is whether you can transfer a second time. And what's the argument? That the Shammai holds, it says in the pasuk, you should hakesed the money, as if to say kesed the original money that you use to exchange the Ma'aser Sheni to that's what you bring with you to the shrine. Like kesed Sheni, you can't then go swap it to another coin. That's the problem. And that's why you can't swap it to gold. Not because gold is not money, but because you can't do a second swap. And Basil Sabri, it says hakesed kesed. It says twice hakesed riba. The second time is to include the first passage where it says and then there's another time, another passage where it says kesed again. And therefore, because there's twice kesed by Ma'aser Sheni, we learn out that you can even a second time and a third time swap it over. I feel kesed Sheni. Avo paydas al dinin, but to swap your paydas on to directly to gold, everyone holds. Compared to paydas, gold is money. Why? Dakati kesed. It's the first swap, and therefore there's no problem whatsoever. That's one view. The Chadam and the other one says there are two arguments. First of all, about a second swap. There's another argument regarding the first swap. The Bishamai holds you cannot swap directly from Ma'aser Sheni to gold because gold is not really money. Says the Gemara, the one who said they're arguing about whether the first you're allowed to, from silver coins to gold coins, whether you're allowed to make a second swap. So why talk if the whole problem is the one shot was that they're only arguing about a second swap. So why talk about silver to gold? It's misleading. Talk about you have silver coins and you want to swap it for other silver coins. And therefore we know now clearly the argument revolves around whether you can have a second swap or not. Says you want to know. Because if they would have argued about Slayin and Slayin, the same coin, and you want to make a second swap, how have you never thought, okay, Slayin, they're only arguing about a second swap. If you want to, let's say, silver coins to gold coins, maybe even Basil will agree gold is not money. You cannot make a swap. But we know that Basil holds that gold is money, and you could. Therefore, we don't want to make any mistakes. We don't want to be misconstrued. We would have thought that gold is not money, gold is a commodity. Forget about moving from, you're not allowed, you cannot swap from silver to gold. You can only argue about silver to silver, second swap, first swap. We would have thought, but silver to gold, you can't swap because gold is not money. Commercial Basil holds that gold is considered merchandise, not that gold is considered money, not just a commodity, and therefore you can swap from silver to gold. We focus on chashivas. Look at Toshma. Another browser where it says. It says here, now you're in Yerushalayim, you brought with you your silver coins, and now you want to spend it. But it's maybe difficult to spend silver, so you want to break it down and exchange it into prutus. And to buy your provisions. The Shammai says when you're exchanging your money, the whole hasela mois. You have to do the entire seller. You cannot do a part seller. You have to do the entire seller. The entire silver coin has to be turned into prutas. And don't take half of it and prutas and half of it, keep in silver. And Basil says no, b'shekel kesef, b'shekel mois. And Basil says no, you should only transfer half of it and leave the other half in silver. Why? Because if you don't spend the whole thing, you'll come back next time. You already have it in silver. And it's easier to spend, and also because if you change everything to prutas, the prutas rust very quickly, and you're not going to be able to hold on to it until the next Yom Tov. And then if you're going to swap it right before you leave, you go back and swap it back to silver because let's say you didn't spend all the money. It'll be get a big line, and it comes out that the Ma'aser Sheni is also losing out because the Shulchan takes a commission every time he changes either way, and Ma'aser Sheni is losing out. So interesting. There's like an inyan that whatever you initially started Ma'aser Sheni, that's how you should end up, and therefore we don't want you to pay commissions as much, more than necessary. Says the Gemara. Okay. Basil says that hash the Kesser over half and half. Hash the cash for the guy. What do we see clearly from it? You're taking silver and you're swapping it over to copper, right? So you're making now a second swap. We don't say Kesser Ishal or Kesser Sheni. We don't say that. So you know and the Gabe Dava.
Avi, can you turn your mic off, please?
So Madach, when it comes to Harvey, please turn your mic off or mute yourself, please. You mute. If you can just mute yourself. So if we say that you can swap from silver to copper, so surely you can swap from silver to gold, which is more chashuv. The Gabi Dav, the chashuv, how could it be that we allow you to swap silver to copper, but we won't allow you to swap, and we have no issue about second swap, and we won't allow you to swap from silver to gold? It doesn't make sense. Omar Rava says, Rava, you're mixing things up. Here we're talking about you're already in Yerushalayim. Previous Bryce was talking about you're making a trek to Yerushalayim and you're outside Yerushalayim. When you're in Yerushalayim, we have another pasuk where the pasuk clearly says, take the money and spend. That's why you're in Yerushalayim. Says the Gemara. Omar Rava, Yerushalayim Kamoisa, you're asking about Yerushalayim, shiny Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is different. The Ksivbe, by Yerushalayim, it says, V'nasato ba'kesef, you should take the money and spend it. You should spend it whatever your heart's desire is. You can spend it on anything you want. So therefore, there's no problem of swapping it for other money because in Yerushalayim, that's what you're meant to do, spend the money. Toshma, coming here, I played it so much my sheni. If you're taking now, right, they're taking the money of my sheni, and you have your prutus, and you want to change it into silver coins. Beishamai says that we had before b'chola salamois. You got to spend all the prutas you have to change over to silver. Beisil says b'shekel kesef b'shekel mois. You got to half silver and half leave in prutas because what happens when you get to Yerushalayim. So we see clearly from here. Clearly, what do you see from here? You're making a second swap. Everyone agrees you can make a second swap. You're paid seller from Sheni. What are you telling me? The Lishna Acharina that they're arguing whether you can have a second swap. Shama said you cannot swap it twice. Here, clearly, you're paid seller. You took prutas, and now you're swapping it over to a silver coin, and you're outside Yerushalayim. So everyone, the only argument is whether you should leave part silver and part copper, or you should change the whole entire lot of copper into silver. So everyone agrees you can swap it twice. First, you took the Ma'aser Sheni and turned it into copper coins, and now you're taking it from copper coins and transferring it to silver. So so much you're right. Kuli Alma, everyone agrees. Ha kesef kesedi, but everyone knows you can swap it twice. I feel a kesef sheni. Ela iyit. So what's the argument then? What's the second version? We know there's a second version. So what was it? There's an alternative way of learning. But this is how you should learn. One of them says, one of them says that the argument is you want to swap from silver to gold. And what's the problem swapping from silver to gold? Not a question of if gold is money or commodity, but Beishamai holds it's midrabbana gazin, and we are worried if you're going to swap silver to gold, then you have to have quite a bit, 25 silver coins. You only have 10, 11, 12. You don't have a sufficient amount to swap it to golden coins. So Shema Yisha Ali Yosef, you might delay your trips to Yerushalayim until you have enough to swap to gold to gold. He wants it's much easier to carry, golden coins than silver. He'll wait. So therefore we say, you know what? You cannot swap silver to gold. Nothing to do with whether gold is money or not. We don't want to cause you to make any delays in trip to Yerushalayim. And Beisil, like I said, we're not worried. Not worried you can delay. And Beishamai is worried because if you delay, either you're over bal ta'acher because you're not allowed to delay the Ma'aser Sheni more than 3 Tevin, and therefore we don't want you to delay it at all. Or you're not going to go to the regal. We want you to be other regel. So the Gemara, they still hold why me geyser? Because he says the chi loimalu nami bedin nasuki masiglo. He'll anyway go up, even if he doesn't have enough to turn it into a gold coin. He will still go up. Ava the paydays al dinin, but this view says when it comes to swapping your original Maisa Sheni to gold coins, why? Why Mechalin? Why aren't we worried? Like Bishami at least. Why is he worried? You're going to wait till you have enough fruits to swap it over to gold coins, and therefore you can delay. Because the key in the milk is a perishable item. Since it's a perishable, lay mashalu, he's not going to delay it at all. We're not going to worry to delay swapping it and let the fruits rot. The chadamar, that's one view. And the other one says, I feel the they even argue fruits to gold for they're still worried that you might delay. Says the Gemara. The opinion that says you're allowed to swap. You're allowed to swap. The Rabbanon who the Gozebe, and this view right now, according to Beshame, the only problem is with the Rabbanon, we're worried we're going to allow you to swap to gold. You're going to hang around and wait until you have sufficient funds to convert them, or sufficient silver coins to convert them to gold. If that's what the argument is, that's what it's use the words Yasser or Yasser, whether they should do it or whether they shouldn't do it. However, sorry, I lost the place. However, according to this opinion, they're arguing whether you can swap if to gold, because gold might not be money. Gold might be just a commodity, and you cannot swap. To convert the money back into Paris outside Shalayim, and even the Shalayim has to be food. So then mechalim loy mechalim. And the term that they should use is whether it's a chil or not a chil. By telling us, by using the word do it, whether you can do it or you can't do it, sounds like it's gzeira midrabanan merely. Because if it's mahatayda not valid, then the word would have been it's not chilul. That's all. Kashi. That's a good question, but doesn't deter us from learning this chapter. Eat what we learned. Talking about chalipin, we're going to learn a number of arguments regarding chalipin. Right now, we're going to learn whether you can use a coin for chalipin. Chalipin there's two kinds of chalipin. One is real barter. So you have something of value and I have something of equal value, and we just swap. And that's chalipin. And by chalipin, different than a sale is at the moment that I do my half of the bargain, let's say I take the cow, the donkey automatically belongs to you. Wherever the donkey may be, you don't have to make a kinyan because we did a chalipin, we did a swap. There's another kind of chalipin, which is the usual one that we talk about in Gemara, and that is where you have like a nominal item. You take a handkerchief or anything that has to be 3 fingers by 3 fingers minimum. And we say in exchange of this, your item, whatever it is, it can be worth 25 times as much, becomes mine. So it's much more symbolic rather than a swap of value. That's the standard chalipin that we have. We learned it from Rusas. We'll see in the Gemara later. So the Gemara says
that's what we do now for Mechiras Chometz.
Exactly. Or by you get married, we do chalipin and all that. Yeah, by Tanoim. Okay. Question is, can you make a swap for money? I'm not buying something with the money. I want you to, in exchange of this money, whatever that item is, it should become straight away mine. Not when I make a meshicha, because money itself is not kohen. I still have to make a meshicha. I want to do a chalipin. Ein my bein not chalipin. You cannot use money to a chalipin. Why not? Now, why shouldn't you? I want to put my time. You know why? The man don't bein not chalipin. You know what the reason is? Sorry, I skipped a line. Eat what we learned. Rav Levi is an argument. Chad Omar Matbeya Nasa Chalipin. One of them say that Matbeya can be made into Chalipin as well. And the Chad Omar, the other one says, Ein Matbeya Nasa Chalipin. That you cannot use a Matbeya for Chalipin. Why not? I'm going to put my time in the Chalipin. Why not? Should the Daita Tzurasa? Because when you look at a coin, now, coin used to have, not like today, coins are symbolic. But in those days, coins, it was a gold standard. Coins had true value. Silver had silver in it, gold had gold and true value. So coins in those days had 2 levels of value. One level of value is the inherent value, whatever it is, intrinsic value. And the other one was which government put their stamp on it. So the value of the coin might have been 80 or 90% of the coin itself, the intrinsic value. And then there's another 10%, which is because it was minted by this particular government. So because when you look at a coin, you're not just looking at the intrinsic value, you're also looking at the government. And in those days, it seems every time the government changed hands, they would make the other coins obsolete, put their own pictures on there or their own names, whatever it is. and the previous coins are worthless now, or at least in the open market they wouldn't be used anymore. So it says a papa. We cannot make chalitza out of money because we learn that from a shoe. Rishovish Nala by Boyaz that he remember there's Pliny Almaini who was supposed to marry Rus. He wasn't interested, so the next one in line was Boyaz, and he bought the rights from Pliny Almaini by what? By giving him a shoe, as we'll see, and he swapped it for a shoe. So a shoe is something which is whatever it is, it is. Mashaying in a coin, today can be worth something, tomorrow worth nothing. So therefore, daita tzura. So you're thinking about the form that's on it, the mint, whatever it is, and tomorrow will be worth nothing. Therefore, it's not like a shoe, and therefore it doesn't come under the category of chalipin. So we learn,
but it still has an but it still has an intrinsic value.
Yeah, but it's not, so you can buy and sell, but it's not chalipin. This chiddush, chalipin has a chiddush. The other guy didn't make any kinyan, and yet it became his. How? Because that's the chiddush of chalipin, and we learned that out from Boyaz. And because this doesn't meet the criteria of what we know from Rus, that says Nala Yeshu, therefore this opinion says it's different, it's not included. And the Chalipin won't work, it's not effective. We'll soon see, we're going to learn now all kinds of machlekes about Chalipin that doesn't work in all cases because it has to be similar to the original, to the Nala. The question is how far we expand this Nala. Says the Gemara, the Tanakh, we learned Azov kind of kesef. Said clearly in the Mishnah that gold is kind of kesef. Now, because they use the expression koina, if it means what we all learn that gold is a commodity, and therefore as soon as you made a mashiach on the gold became mine. I now owe you the money. So really, the Mishnah should have said mechayiv es kesef. I owe you the money. By saying koina es kesef sounds like I koina the gold and you are automatically koina the silver. Sounds like chalipin. So you want to buy chalipin? That's chalipin. We see clearly that the money can be used. It can be exchanged through using the chalipin method. They were like, no, bedami. We're talking about you bought, you made bedami means I owe you the money. The wording is wrong. Why does it say that when I pull this off, the guy is kind of the money? No, I owe the guy money, the vendor money. Tani, learn hazav mechayiv. Either it means just change the wording in the Mishnah, or it means that's what the word in the Mishnah actually means. Just interpret the word, it means that you're obligated. In fact, hachanam mistabel. But the Tani says, look at the next case. It says in the next case, a kesed, but silver ain't no kindness as of. If you use silver, which is money, and you try to and you paid someone money, you're not kind of the gold yet because metaltlin can only be nicknamed through meshicha, not with money. Now, yeah, I'm talking about money. The kaspativa, that makes sense because the hava payda, because gold is a commodity. Kaspativa, silver is money. The tiva payda lekani. If you use money to be kind of metaltlin, it's not a kinyan. It's not a valid kinyan. But if you tell me it's chalipin, then tavai liknadani. What's the chilik if silver versus gold, or gold versus silver? They both should be kind of straight away. That's number one. So therefore, it has nothing to do with chalipin, but so no proof either way. Well, furthermore, Tanya, we learned actually in the brayso. Akesef because silver does not acquire gold. Kate said how you sold in 25 dinar of silver, in exchange of a dinar of gold, and it says there even though shemoshach es akesef. So it says there clearly, you sold him 20 because 25 dinar of silver equals 1 dinar of gold, and you sold him you made that change, even though you pulled the silver like kona, you're not koina achi yimshech azazov. You're not koina because silver is money. Money is not koina a commodity until you actually make a mashich. Clearly, we're talking about a case of buying and selling. We're talking about buying and selling. That's why it makes sense. You're not kind of the gold until you, and the money until you make a mashich in the gold. If we're talking about kinyan chalipin, then nickname why doesn't the other person automatically I got the gold? The other one should get the silver. So you want it back. Elamai, what are you telling me? Bedami. We're talking about what? We're talking about that's a purchase. So look at the ratio of this very brisa. It says in the ratio, Hazov Kesed, that gold acquires silver, right? So that if you made a meshicha on the gold, it became mine. I now owe the silver. Ketzah, but look at the ketzah here. If you sold him 1 din of gold for 25 din of silver, as soon as you made a meshicha of zov, nikna hakesed b'chol. Look at the wording here. wherever the money, the silver is, it belongs to the vendor, the one who sold the gold. If it's talking about purchasing and I have an obligation to pay you, it's not yours yet until I give it to you, hand it over to you. This sounds like chalipin. Now, it's chalipin hayin makes sense. Eliam bedamim, that is a pure purchase. Then what do you mean? He acquires the silver wherever it may be. No, he doesn't. What happens is that as soon as the buyer made a meshicha on the gold, the buyer now owes the money to the vendor, but the vendor doesn't own the money yet. Ravashi said, you're right. We're talking about a purchase. A purchase. What do you mean that you kind of mokum b'chom mokum shehi? It doesn't mean wherever it is. It means my b'chom mokum shu k'maishu. Whatever arrangement they made, you have to remain with that. What do you mean? Whatever arrangement made from the beginning. So not b'chom mokum shu. I owe you the money, but whatever arrangement we made in the beginning, what kind of money I'm going to pay you, that's what I have to pay you. For example, he said to him, let's say the buyer said, I'm going to give you money, brand new coins. And that's what we made. So that's what the vendor said. I want to have brand new coins. The buyer cannot go then ahead and pay with old coins because he said, I need it for a long time. And these coins get rusty and tarnished and they lose value over time. So even though today, currently, it's worth more money than brand new coins, doesn't matter. If we agreed and made up something, you have to stick to that agreement. My time, because the guy says, I want older coins because I want to put it away for storage. I need what do you call it? Says the Gemara further. I need to leave it for a long time, and therefore I want the new coins because I plan to leave it for a few years. The old coins are going to get ruined quickly, and they're not going to be worth much by the time I need that money. So whatever we made up, we made up. But we're talking about buying, nothing to do with chalipin. So no proof one way or another. Talking about it further, Papa says, even according to the view that says, Ein Madbe Nasa Chalipin, even according to the view that you cannot use coins as Chalipin, and the reason we gave why you can't use it is because it doesn't have the full value. It's like incomplete because if it changed tomorrow, the minting and so on, or the whatever on the coin. He's saying he's saying that even though we don't want you to use the coin as chalipin, but you can buy something with chalipin. In other words, the first person who takes the money cannot be used for chalipin according to that view. But if I'm making chalipin on the donkey, and in exchange of the donkey, you're going to end up with the money, and I want it to be in a manner of chalipin, that does work. That does work. She says it again. Now the coin cannot activate the chalipin. But it could be on the receiving end of the chalipin that I'm going to activate the chalipin or something else. I'm going to, let's say, make a swap, a donkey for money. And we're saying it's going to be a direct swap. If I make a kinyan on the donkey, then the money automatically goes to you. That will be chalipin. Why? Mida dahaba paid it. Excuse me. Mida dahaba paid it. Now remember, we have an argument whether the trader says dafka, a keli, a utensil, can be used for chalipin, or you can even use other things like a pera. So you just like pera. Rav Nachman pera. What does Rav Nachman hold regarding peras? The Rav Nachman lab. I forgot the inlav of chalipin. Rav Nachman hold that says nala yeshu. You cannot use a pera to activate your chalipin. Yet aknui mikta b'chalipin, but it can be on the receiving end of chalipin. Yeah, you use the shoe. And you say, I'm in exchange of the shoe, you can have the Paris. Even Nachman will agree that if it's on the receiving end of the chalipin, it's all right. Is tivanam miloshna. It's the same with money. Says our Papa. Money cannot activate the chalipin, but it can be on the receiving end of the chalipin. I'll ask you a question. You told me that money can be on the receiving end of the chalipin. Let me ask you a question. It says, if somebody was standing there in a goyrin, in a threshing floor or near a granary, the ain't be yodei mois. It doesn't have now. If you want to redeem your own crop and Maisa Sheni, you have to pay a penalty of an extra fifth, which is a quarter. But if a stranger does it, they don't have to pay anything extra. So you can have your son. You can have your son redeem it, and he doesn't pay anything extra, and then your son can give it to you if he wants to. Or you can have a good friend that you could trust will redeem it, and then he'll give it back to you, and you can give him money some other time. So what happens? You didn't have your friend, you didn't have your son or anything else. He was standing the guy, didn't have any money. He says to his friend, you know what? And there was no money available there to buy to redeem it. He says to his friend, I'm gifting you all of these fruits. They're no longer mine. So now the original owner is no longer the owner. So he can now, if he redeems it, he doesn't have to pay the penalty of that extra fifth. Then he says, I have money sitting at home, not with me here, but I want that the payers that you have, I'm happy to exchange it for the money that I have sitting in my house. I'm taking the kedusha away, but I don't have to pay the extra penalty. Now, time seems to me the only reason why. Because I have no money, so I have to gift you the fruits and then use the money at home to mechal. Time I don't have the money with me. If I had the money with me, then if I had the money with me, I would just give you the money, and you would be kind of with the money by with the Mashiach. And then now the money belongs to that other person. It belongs to the other person. and uparik, and then that person go ahead and redeem it, because it's the way we're doing it now. It's so obvious that it's a trick. You're gifting him all your entire crop, and then you're redeeming it. It's so obvious it's a trick, but you're doing it if you have no choice. But if you had the money, it'd be far better. Just gift the money to your friend, and then your friend wants to redeem it. He's distant from the crop. It's not the original owner who's redeeming it. It's the friend, and you don't pay, so it looks better. It doesn't look like a haram. It doesn't look like you're doing a big trick.
How can a stranger be paid my sustaining? It's not his. How can he paid it?
The thing is that you can, because he's paid him my sheni. So therefore, what happens? The money is transferred to me, goes to me, and I take this money, right? So the Maisa Sheni is no longer my Sheni, and now the money becomes holy, right? We exchange, we swap the kedusha of the money, and what happens? This guy gives me the money, he takes the tour, and I take this money to bring to the shrine. And then later, we work out something. He gives it back to the tour as a present. He'll give it to me ultimately because he knows that it's for me, and I give him back, and I give him other money, and so on. It's technically all right, and technically it's all right. It's like a little trick, but it's perfectly legal. Perfectly legal. He's doing it only to avoid paying that extra penalty. That's what we're doing, yeah. Where is it? So it seemed like he gives the other guy the money, and then the other guy redeems it, and you don't have to pay that extra fee. But if you tell me, now let me ask you a question. If you tell me that money is far better way, what's the problem? The money is not here, so you can't physically give the money to that other person. So what? If you're telling me that money, Yura Papa just told us that if you do, let's say, give the guy a handkerchief, you can say that in return, the money sitting in my house is yours. Because you're saying money can be on the receiving end of the chalipin. So why don't you give a guy a handkerchief and say, all the money sitting in my house is now yours, and now you go ahead and redeem my property, and so on. Why do we then if resort to a method which we are totally not happy with, which is that I gift you my whole tvu, and then the original owner, goes ahead and redeem it? Doesn't look right at all. And the problem is you have no money to give him right now. But there's a way. There is a way around it, by saying that I'm giving chalipin, that all the money in my warehouse, or all the money in my house, in my safe, now is yours, and I'm the receiving end of the chalipin. Answers the Gemara. We hebben ben die gelippen niet mooi de heer, agaf suder van de handkerchief, the lifreik, and then redeem it. And the Gemara, the Leslie suder, it just happens to be there's no handkerchief available. They have nothing, no material, nothing that they can do chalippen with. Says the Gemara, okay. There's other ways. If he gives him a sliver of land and he says, remember having kedushin, if you're koine together with the land, I can also be koine metaltalin, and therefore give him a piece of land. Remember, you're standing near your silo over there, or your threshing floor. You give him a piece of the land and say, with the land, you're getting all my money. And nothing to do with chalipa now, but there is another way of giving him money. So we're more digressing a little bit. The next, and so the Gemara is less like karka. He doesn't own any property either. It's clearly he's standing there on the threshing floor. He has no property, no land. Gemara says, who said it was his? It wasn't his land. And the Tana is coming out of his way to teach you a halacha regarding Gavra Artiloy, a person who's destitute that has nothing, doesn't own land, doesn't own a handkerchief, doesn't have any money. What's going on here? The less label like klum, that he has nothing, it doesn't make sense.
What's wrong with the handshake?
It's not a kinyan to transfer the money.
But Goyim, it's a kinyan.
There is a kinyan of a handshake only. It's called a kinyan situmta. A kinyan situmta is that if that's the derech hasoichim way they do business, for example, in the diamond industry, they're on a contract to do a handshake, and that's the way they do business. That's called, or by a barrel of wine, kistumta, you put a seal on it. That's a kinyan. But generally speaking, it's not a kinyan. Big argument that's a kinyan with the rabbanon or kinyan ma'atayra. We need a kinyan ma'atayra here, so you can transfer the Maisa Sheni money, and so on. So therefore, it's not a method. There is a kinyan of this. Tosfos in another place ask why don't we do kinyan of this, but that's not really what we're trying to. We're focusing now on the chalipin. Elala shmam doesn't this prove that ain't my bein nas chalipin shmamina that we disagree with our papa that money cannot be involved in the chalipin not only to activate the chalipin but even to be on the receiving end of the chalipin, and that's why you couldn't make the swap. And in fact, the papa himself changed his mind. He heard that papa's once a papa. He had 12,000 coins. Papa was a very wealthy man. He was an alcohol merchant. He made beer, and he had 12,000 dinars. Somebody owed him in the city of Beit Chazoi. And the problem is he wanted somebody, he wasn't traveling there, but he had a friend who was going there. He was going to ask him to bring it back. But remember, the problem is, if anything happens to the money on the way that the shliach comes back to him, what do you call it? The person who owes the money still is responsible. So nobody's going to send $12,000 with somebody else. They said to their papa, you want the money, come here and collect. So what did papa do? He decided that he is going to hand over, give like a power of attorney and hand over ownership of the money to this person. So when the borrower pays this person, the borrower is no longer responsible. This is the only way he can get the borrower to pay. And how did he give it to him? He took a sliver of his house and he gave it to him. And he also, when this person came back with all the money, that papa was so pleased. He traveled a certain distance until this place called Tavich to greet him. But what did he see? He didn't make a chalipin. He gave him a piece of land. So that papa himself believed there's no chalipin anymore. Ula says, "Ein matbeya nas chalipin." Going back to the first thing we said, matbeya cannot activate chalipin. V'chein omar rabasi, ein matbeya nas chalipin. That a coin cannot activate chalipin. V'chein omar rabba bar bar chana b'yechnon, ein matbeya nas chalipin. That a coin